what this is. Houston, we have a package. Hello?
No matter where you are, the Sloman Shield home security system guards your home. With next-gen perimeter protection, 24/7 monitoring, and interior motion sensing. And right now, get a free Sloman Shield security system and doorbell camera, all professionally installed, for free.
Shield your world, the Sloman Shield.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your Inter Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or intermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where Inter Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
All right, we are live and on the air, the Squared Circle Digest. I am the Sean Allen. No, I'm just saying, this is Sean Stanley coming to you live from Miami Gardens. And a lot to get to tonight. A lot of injuries happening, and I think some of it may have actually played a role in something we saw happen last night, which is the end, or well, at least Edge's demise in the Judgment Day group. Finn Balor is introduced as a new member, then they turn on Edge, and now they're bringing Edge back as a babyface. And Josh, what's up, my man? How you doing? So I think this is in essence because of everything that's happening with the injuries, AEW-wise and WWE-wise. Cody, I know he came out and he cut the promo that he was going to be there at Money in the Bank, and then Seth Rollins did the whole thing at the end and took him out and injured him. There was no way Cody was going to be in Money in the Bank. No way. The same injury happened with Triple H, and he took 5 months. Elias took 5 months. There was no way he was going to get the surgery and be back. So they ended up, running with the angle of, making Seth even more heelish than he already was. Josh asking why the turn. If you're referring to the Judgment Day, I think it's because they need a top babyface. Apparently, Randy might be either injured or maybe take time off for personal reasons or whatever. There's no faces. With Cody being out, that was who they positioned as their top babyface in Raw. He's now out for, I'm going to say, 4 to 5 months. You just had AJ Styles and them getting beat by Judgment Day. You can't push him up that quickly. Can he join Edge? Maybe they work the angle to where Edge and AJ somehow form a team to take on Judgment Day now with Finn Balor, Damian Priest, and Rhea Ripley. They've also set it up to where you can bring in back Beth Phoenix as well. Beth Phoenix and Edge taking on Rhea Ripley and either Damian Priest or Finn Balor. So again, you've added a babyface, a top babyface, not just anybody, but a top babyface. Because right now with Raw, who's your top babyface? Bobby Lashley? With Cody being out now, I'm referring to with Cody out. It would be Bobby Lashley. So now you do that. I think that is somewhat facilitated the turn or the quickness of the turn so that Edge could come back and, be one of the top baby faces on Raw. That is the only conclusion I can come to, because it makes no sense with all the buildup they've been doing to do that turn there. To me, again, this is Sean Stanley talking. To me, it made no sense to do that turn there unless the only reason was they had no top babyface. Josh says, I see John Cena coming back. Do you know? I'm thinking they're going to end up Theory. It's going to be with Theory, I believe. Theory's been talking about it. Cena's been on some, I don't know if it's a movie tour or if he's just doing some press, but he's been asked, who he thinks is one of the guys in WWE, one of the top guys, and he always keeps saying Theory. I'm watching you, Theory. I'm watching you. So ultimately, I think we see something either started with Theory or they work a program there. So I think they're going to bring him back. And also pretty ironic, isn't it, that it's for the U.S. title, which was one of the titles that John Cena had worn, and then he turned it into one of the spinner belts before winning the heavyweight title and making that the spinner belt. So, ultimately, I think they bring him back. And again, I think this is more drawing power and everything else because the injury to Cody, I think, has put them back. Because again, Randy, I thought was more of a Alexa, how you doing? I thought the Randy injury was more of just to give him some time off. But obviously, if you're changing storylines, to me, I can't believe that they wrote this to be, okay, when Finn Balor joins Judgment Day, we're turning on Edge. Like everything is set up and rolling with Edge as the leader of that group. The only thing that's changed is Cody gets injured, and now you have no top babyface. John Cena also brings back a babyface into the picture as well. So, again, ultimately, right now, I think what they're doing is they're trying to figure out who is going to be leading the march on Raw. And again, if it's Edge and he's in the Judgment Day, you're still gonna have to start pushing Lashley. I'm thinking of right now, just off the top of my head, maybe the Street Profits. I'm just, throwing things out there. Ali just got beat by Theory at the pay-per-view. It may take some time. I think you might see some guys come from SmackDown over. But when you look at the babyface power, even with Cody as a babyface, you've got AJ, Bobby Lashley. I guess now Cedric Alexander, maybe they can do something with him, but he just got beat by Omos in about 13 seconds. So a lot of the baby faces that you've had have just been beat down. You can't just throw them up and all of a sudden elevate them to be, where you had Cody. And I think one of the signs of that also is the fact that Cody had to wrestle that match. And I'm not saying that he wouldn't do it over. If he had to do it again, he'd probably do the same thing. But to me, when he took off the jacket, I was like, holy shit. I've seen torn pecs and things like that, but that was just, he shouldn't have been in the ring to me, and again, I guess, and a lot of people were saying, and I know Lance Storm responded on one of the things, like once it's ripped off the bone, it's pretty much you just being able to handle the pain tolerance. You're not going to mess it up anymore once it's off the bone. So it wasn't like he was going to do any more damage to the torn pec, but I guess the pain tolerance was there. So, maybe he got a shot before the match and went on there. But I do think that the Cody Rhodes injury now has changed a lot of things, because ultimately I think, again, I know Drew McIntyre is the opponent for Clash of the Castle. And then ultimately, I think probably Cody would have won Money in the Bank and would have had the briefcase to go and cash in on either Roman or Drew. And I think that would have, kind of started bringing that storyline of Cody reaching that, the part, of what he always said. The reason he went back to WWE was to be the heavyweight champion. Now that's going to be, again, now it's going to be the surgery, the rehab, the build back. And ultimately, I think they've set it up to where, does Seth Rollins win Money in the Bank and do the same thing he did with Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns before? He's done this before where he snuck in and won the title. Now, if he's the champion, Cody Rhodes makes the return, it would make sense for Cody to come in and take the belt off of Seth. And again, if you do the cashing in of the Money in the Bank briefcase and say Roman's had a tough match or whatever, you do the same thing he did at the WrestleMania. Seth slides in real quick, curb stomp, 1, 2, 3. Now he's a champion. And, Roman doesn't look you don't take anything off of Roman because really it was Seth, cashing in the Money in the Bank that takes the title off of Roman. So it doesn't really slow down that train, and then you can work in, and again, but I think this is further down the road when Cody has rehabbed and has come back. So you're looking at, what are we now, June? I think he's having surgery tomorrow. So June 8th, and you're looking at November 8th. So maybe Survivor Series would be one of the areas where he could return. So maybe somewhere before that, Seth Rollins cashes in, Cody comes out, makes his return, and, beats Seth and beats him for the 4th time. But this time, he gets what eluded his dad the whole time, the WWE Championship. And you can kind of wrap this whole thing up in a ball where the injury, yes, unfortunate, but now you can build off of something there. And again, with the Money in the Bank, I don't think you take away from, taking the title off of Roman Reigns. He could win and then, get caught real quick, So it's going to be very interesting. The Usos now are taking on the Street Profits right now. Riddle is in flux right now. Nakamura got taken out a little bit. Now you saw Riddle taking on Miz at this show. Again, it's very odd right now where everything is. I think the Roman Reigns kind of threw a wrench in some of the things they were doing with him wanting to, cut back some, kind of took that title reign, where he can defend the title whenever away. And then now the Cody Rhodes injury takes away pretty much everything else. My apologies for the shift, but I have an AEW question. What do you think AEW needs to do for Dynamite's ratings to go back to what it was when Punk and Danielson first arrived? Listen, when Punk and Danielson first arrived, they were 1.1. Right now, they're 0.89, 0.92. So it hasn't changed a whole lot. It really hasn't. It's very weird to me, D. I don't know what they can do because they're putting on pay-per-view like cards. Maybe not the whole card, but they have pay-per-view like quality matches on Dynamite. And it's just, again, maybe once the NBA playoffs are over and the NHL playoffs are over, and then now that'll be the only thing on Wednesday, you'll see some of that, I think, creep back up a little bit. But again, they were only at 1.1, 1.2s. They have never gotten, really super, super big. So it'll be very interesting because I've talked about it, quite a few times is that I don't understand why the eyes aren't there. The one thing I will say, though, that AEW does is they do cater to their audience. And by that, I mean, the references and things like that. If you're not really a hardcore AEW and you're a casual viewer, you might miss some of the stuff that's happening or some of the references because you might not watch AEW all the time and you might not come back to the product because, again, a lot of it is geared toward their crowd. My other thing is that I think they got to get more geared toward the casual wrestling fan if you want to grow. If they're happy with what they have and that's the audience they want and they don't want to grow anymore, then it's fine. But as a casual wrestling fan, you don't get a lot of the, not every wrestling fan is watching, NJPW, your, Ring of Honors all the time. Most of the casual wrestling fans pretty much grew up on WWE, WWF. Not saying it's the right thing, or WCW as well, and ECW and things like that. So they're used to that. They've been programmed to that as wrestling. What you see on Wednesday is totally different. It's faster. It's a lot quicker. And if you're a casual wrestling fan, sometimes you don't get all that. Frankie Fresco, what's going on, my man? Josh asked, I know you probably answer this. What do you think about MJF pipe bomb? Look, man, I figured they have gone all in, no pun intended, with AEW on the MJF. Now, again, I don't know how much of this is shoot, how much of it is work, how much of it's in between. He's kind of blurring that line like what Brian Pillman did. Yes, he was given a microphone. Yes, he was told to go out and talk. No, they didn't expect him to go 9 minutes, and I don't know that they expected him. They expected him to go off on Tony Khan, but he went 9 minutes instead of like 4 or 5 minutes, and then the mic was cut, and then CM Punk came down the ring and chased him off, and he jumped the rails and went back over. So it is I'm only doing Tuesday and Thursday now, Frankie, 8 to 10. It's just too much with everything else going on with the show, and trying to do 3 shows a week just was not cutting it. So I'll probably do, try to do as long as I can now, Tuesdays and Thursdays. But with MJF, it's kind of weird because it's one of those areas where you kind of gotten invested into it. Why? Because you're like, I know what I should be seeing, but I also know what I'm seeing. You know what I'm saying? It's like in wrestling, it is always, believe half of what you see and nothing of what you hear. And that's what's happening right now with MJF. Because again, there were plane tickets in the name of MJF. He did not get on the flight to leave Vegas. There's a lot of things there that they're playing. I don't know what's a work anymore and what's a shoot as far as where Tony Khan is in the hierarchy of this angle. I don't know who else is involved in this angle. And again, I don't know how much is work and how much is shoot, because there is a divide with Tony Khan and MJF. There is a divide there on what the money that he thinks he deserves and what he thinks he's getting paid. And a lot of the stuff that he said on the pipe bomb is how he truly feels. So it's very interesting to see how far they're going to go with this, because I don't know, there was an edict ordered by Time Warner, to remove him. So he's removed off the roster page now. He's removed off of merchandise, and they have not put on social media, the AEW, as far as where they haven't put that out to, promote it. It's been kind of dropped. And again, it's pro wrestling. How much is there and how much isn't? It's probably 50-50. So it'll be very interesting to see where they continue to go with this. If you see MJF next week, again, I know some of this is work. I'm just starting to try to figure out how much is a work and how much TK and MJF are working hand in hand, or if MJF's trying to take a little bit more than what TK wants to offer him, as far as, on the mic and things like that. So that's going to be the interesting dynamic right now with AEW. Cat for Life, what's going on, buddy? Cody is crazy. You see that, Bruce? That was when he took the jacket off, the crowd went quiet. I was in here going, holy shit. There's no way. No way I'm in there in that condition. And again, I guess once you've teared off the bone, there's not much else damage you can do. So we'll see what they do. Let's see. Sean, what do you think of that group turning on the edge? I talked about a little bit at the beginning. Frankie, I think they need a baby face on Raw. There's no baby face. With Cody out, Randy's out, and I think they want to end up bringing him back to probably feud with Riddle. So you're not bringing him back as a baby face. Right now you have Lashley and AJ Styles, maybe your top 2 heels. AJ's been getting beat down by, the Judgment Day. And then Bobby Lashley's been feuding with Omos and and MVP. So I think they needed to get a baby face in there, and this ultimately will be Edge's turn back, because I don't know any other thing that I can't believe that they rode this whole thing up in creative and said, okay, we're going to give Edge this group. And at WrestleMania, Damian Priest will join. At WrestleMania Backlash, Rhea Ripley will join. Then we'll have them do a 6-man tag team match. And then we'll have him drop all these names on social media of who he wants to be the 4th member. We'll say, hey, on Raw, they're going to introduce the 4th member. We'll bring out the 4th member being Finn Balor. And then we'll say Edge is what's holding them back. I just can't see that this was written. This seems like a hasty way to get Edge back into the realm of being a babyface. The concerto, the leaving him laying, everything there, everything that he built up, they crumbled down in one night on top of him. So again, I think that it was more just becoming a babyface on that one. So, sorry, I was getting a text in the middle of that. Some show stuff. Don't forget, you can be part of the show here on the chat. You can also follow me on Twitter, Instagram at Sean_Stanley11. You can reach out there and ask me anything wrestling related. Then also you've got Big O Radio Show at yahoo.com, where we can talk about, just put in the subject line, pro wrestling or Squared Circle Digest. So now you've got, I guess now the 3 injuries have happened, right? CM Punk hurt his foot. Bryan Danielson could not travel. He got an injury. I'm guessing it's probably a concussion or something where he couldn't fly. And then Cody tears his pectoral off the bone. So it happens in 3s, right? So that now we should be done maybe for a little bit. Let's see, Frankie Fresco. Are they bringing Cena to replace Cody? I think they're bringing him back as a name. I don't think he can replace Cody because I don't think he's going to be around that long. He has become The Rock. Except he's not as busy as The Rock, so he can get some time to come back. Whereas with The Rock, he's filming movies left and right and doing shows and everything else. Cena's got a little bit of time to where, and also I think Cena's at that part now to where he is, I think he wants to give back to, I think they see something in theory, Vince does, and I think this is going to be kind of the passing of Cena passing to theory is what I think they're going to try to work this again with the U.S. title, because again, Cena was a U.S. champion. He used to do the hell, I think that's how Kevin Owens debuted, right? He used to do the U.S. title open on Raw, and Kevin Owens actually answered it one time and pinned Cena actually. And that's how Kevin Owens debuted in WWE on Raw. So, I mean, ultimately, yeah, he's going to bring some name power. I don't think he's going to be able to replace Cody just because I don't think he's going to be around. Again, the funny thing about it right now is what I saw this tweet and it was from somebody reputable. So I will take their word kind of on this, but Cody in the 3 months now he's been in, it was April 2nd, April 3rd. He debuted with WWE. He's wrestled more matches in WWE in 3 months than he had since 2019. In 3 months with WWE. Think about that. So again, and maybe he pushed it a little bit too hard. And again, if you're not used to doing that, that's pressure on your body, man. Traveling, driving, working out. Maybe only getting 4 or 5 hours sleep, going to the gym, going to the building. All that's that wear and tear on your body. And sometimes your body's just not ready for it. And again, they said he tore it partially with Seth on Monday and then hurt it more lifting weights. Again, pro wrestling, believe what you want to say, whatever you want to on it. I think he might have just torn it with working out, just went a little bit too much. And ultimately, because he did wrestle a live show on Friday, and then they pulled him from the live show on Saturday. So if he's injured on Friday, why have him wrestle then? So I think something happened possibly in a workout on Saturday that the injury happened. And again, all hearsay on my part. I haven't seen anything, read anything. You'll probably never find out the whole thing. But Josh says, I think CM Punk injured himself by jumping to the crowd. I believe that played a part in it. But if you also watch back to the pay-per-view, he tries to do the buckshot lariat. And the way he lands, I can guarantee you he did some damage there. And then the rest of the damage he probably did trying to jump into the damn crowd. Guarantee that doesn't happen anymore. Cap for Life heard The Rock is coming to Bloodline. Any truth to that rumor? I have heard nothing of The Rock right now. Nothing. And again, not saying I know everybody and everybody talking and this and that, but the people that I follow that usually has a pretty good ear on the ground have not said anything about The Rock. Nothing. Is Roman Reigns? No, he's not retiring. He's just doing the Brock Lesnar schedule. He's doing the stadium shows, and he's defending the title, and he'll probably show up to a couple SmackDowns here and there just to do some promotions. We'll see where it goes. Again, I just think it's a huge, think about this, okay? July 17th, the card coming here. It was the Usos and the New Day. It was, I think, Drew McIntyre and Sami Zayn. I believe Cody was going to be on it. When you look at that now, the cards, you might have the New Day and Usos and then, McIntyre and Zayn, but is it worth going to a live show? And that's where, the one thing with WWE has changed a lot, because before, if live show attendance was down, it was blamed on the champion. And now your champion doesn't even go to the shows. That's why, when they had the title on, Eddie Guerrero and some of those other guys, the crowd, the live attendance wasn't that good. They dropped the belts. Now you have guys, only 4 appearances, 4 stadium appearances is what he's signed on to. And then, of course, doing some of the promotions. Frankie Fresco asked, do you think Rhea Ripley finally going to become champ now that she's a title shot? I just don't see her beating Bianca Belair. That's the thing right now. If Asuka would have won that title, I would say yes. Do I think Rhea Ripley deserves it? Yes. But also now with her in Judgment Day, do they put a strap on her just so that Judgment Day has a title? Because other than that, they're not going to put any strap on them because they're not going to fight Theory. So the only title right now is that you need to stop eating hot dogs at events. Okay, Derek Harper. And you can kiss my ass. Going back to that, but also is the fact that do they want to build up the Judgment Day group? Do they want to put a title? Do they need a title? So that's the other thing you need to ask and look at with Rhea Ripley. Do I think she deserves a title? Yes. Do I think she gets one right now? Yeah, probably not. Probably not. And plus, Bianca Belair is a hell of an athlete, hell of a worker, hell of a champion. And I think she deserves a longer run with this because, again, I thought she got cut short because Becky came back and they wanted the big, and I get it. It was during SummerSlam. It was in August. She had won it in April and stuff like that. So ultimately, I hope she gets a good run now with the title for a little bit, just to, solidify her as a champion, because if you get the title and you drop it, and you get the title and you drop it, you get the title and you drop it, it just, to me, you're that champion, that bridge champion is what you end up being. Let's see. Derek Harper gave me the X, Manchester, England. Well, I appreciate you listening in, Derek. And I don't like all your takes here, but hey, it's all good. Thank you for tuning in. What's the deal with WWE NXT? Cap for Life says, why is there always a little Oriental guy fighting with his ex-wife for the belt? I thought R-Truth served that man divorce papers. Oh, you mean the 24/7 title? That's not NXT. That's the 24/7 title. And actually, last night, I think it got defended in the main event on Raw. Becky Lynch took on Brooke, Dana Brooke, and Dana Brooke beat her because Asuka was holding Becky Lynch's legs. So somehow Brooke got the belt back, because the last time I saw it, it was Akira Tozawa had beat Tamina, which is the one you're talking about there with the papers, and ended up winning the title. And that's the last time I had saw. And Derek, no need to apologize, man. It's all fun and games, buddy. It's all fun and games. We have a good time here. Plus, I love hot dogs too. So you struck a chord there. You struck a chord with me with hot dogs. But ultimately, the 24/7 champion, it's just a comical belt, man. It's just a comical title. It was to make fun of the hardcore title. That's why they had Mick come out and present it and everything else like that. It's one of those things where it's just entertainment. That belt is just entertainment. That belt's just there for entertainment. I hope R-Truth wins it back for the 9,375th time I think he's had it. So let's see. Aren't Rhea and Bianca best friend? The match should be fun to watch. I don't know that they're best friends. I think they're close. The funny thing about it is the best friends are Rhea Ripley, Damian Priest, and Finn Balor. Those three hang out all the time together. And if you remember now, Rhea Ripley is dating Buddy Murphy, who is now in AEW. So Rhea Ripley was in Vegas, and there was a lot of pictures of everybody taking pictures of her being there, but she was there supporting her boyfriend, Buddy Murphy. So, it's one of those things, man. Those three are always hanging out. Rhea and Bianca probably are close friends as far as like traveling buddies and things like that, but also remember, Bianca is married to Montez Ford. I think she's married to Montez Ford, so they probably travel together a lot there and you travel the country, man. You become very close. A lot of the stuff that used to happen in the heat backstage and all that stuff dies down nowadays. I don't see that. Better hot dogs, Miami hot dogs, or New York hot dogs? Man, just hot dogs, man. You can't go wrong with hot dogs. I don't care if you put them in what do they call New York? The water, what is it? Or whatever, man. I do them on the grill. I'll boil them. Man, you can't go wrong with hot dogs. Let's see. Oh, yes, I remember those days. I think that's the last time anybody ever used thumbtacks in America. No. What days? Thumbtacks. Cap, what are you talking about? The last time anybody used them? What? I missed something somewhere in the chat, so I apologize. Trying to figure out where. Let's see. Frankie, I'm going bold and say Chicago. Yeah, the Chicago dog now. I can eat me some Chicago dogs. I don't go wrong there. As far as toppings on the hot dog and everything else like that, I can do me a Chicago dog. Let's see. Rhea Ripley's hot as hell. Eggy noodles back in the day. Stone Cold or The Rock. Man. Dude, I've got to go. Man, I got to go Stone Cold. I always wanted to beat up the boss. I don't anymore, but I did back in the day. I wanted to beat up my boss. And he allowed it. And plus, at the time, they were cool in two different ways. The Rock Stone Cold was just shooting the bird and everything else. And oh, Miami 305. I guess you're saying I should have went with The Rock. But to me, Stone Cold was just the ass kicker. The Rock was more of the talker. That's why I'm going with Stone Cold. Frankie Fresco says I go with The Rock. Derek Harper, Stone Cold all day. Mankind, Hell in the Cell, dude. That'll never be duplicated again. Let's see. When he did Donald Trump, yes. 1 beer, 2 beer, yes. Stone Cold. You gotta love him, man. The man is a functioning alcoholic. You have to love that. How can you not love that? And not only that, but he's drinking his own damn beer. I mean, it doesn't get no better than that, right? Stone Cold beer. Now he's drinking that as he's, taking care of Kevin Owens at WrestleMania. Does not get old. But of course, you have The Rock, 305. And if The Rock was sitting beside me, I'd say The Rock. And if Stone Cold sitting beside me, I'll say Stone Cold. But since neither are, I'm going Stone Cold. Frankie Fresco, Elias finally told the truth. Did anyone like Triple H? Right here. When I wrestled, I patterned it after Triple H, Chris Jericho, close your ears, earmuffs, Chris Benoit. Those were kind of the guys that and D'Lo Brown too as well. I love me some D'Lo Brown. I don't know if you can see it there, but I'm doing the sit out in actually this one over here. I'm doing D'Lo sit out slam right there. I love that move. Mick Foley, not Nick Foley, Mick Foley. Do you not miss the WWF days? I miss the Attitude Era. I miss a lot of the older school wrestling. Again, it has changed a lot. Some for the better, some, things have gotten safer for wrestlers. I mean, when I say safer, I mean when you're looking at WWE, AEW. You go to some of these independent shows and I can't speak on those, but for, you got guaranteed contracts. You got, they send guys to, who was it that was doing the interview the other day? Adam Shearer or Braun Strowman. He said that when he was in WCW, he had one of his vertebrae went out and his leg was partially paralyzed. He was partially paralyzed with his leg. They rushed him on a Sunday. On a Sunday, they sent him to the best doctor. They flew him in, and everything was he did for the surgery, paid for it, everything, and he got 85% of the functionality back in his leg with only 15% atrophy. That didn't happen back in the day. Back in the day, guys were wrestling, like putting splints on their arms just to because they didn't get paid if they didn't wrestle. So, again, there's a lot of good and a lot of bad with the guys. Look at Cat for Life just throwing out names. Steiner Brothers, the Dudleys. Who had the Dudleys? Where do they go at? There it is. The Dudley Boys. Yes. Man, you guys just throwing out everybody. Kurt Angle, he was a hero. Yeah, now did you see the meme that they went out with Cody Rhodes now? Somebody put a gold medal on him, and he said, I did it with a broken pec. Instead of a freaking broken neck, it's now a freaking broken pec. And it was one of those things. Cat for Life, Orlando Sean, join us on the Miami Sports Fanatic Show. We're going live right now. Well, I'm going to be going off here in a minute. So I'm going to probably tune in there, Cap, definitely. FTR, my favorite. Yes, Frankie, FTR to me. The Briscoes, FTR, two of my favorite tag teams. I just love the old school feel, man. I don't mind the hardcore stuff. I get lost in a lot of, and again, I'll be the first to admit, I couldn't do a flip if I'm on a freaking trampoline. All right. I cannot do a flip on a trampoline. So maybe some of it is because I can't do it, but to me, if you're doing that stuff, make it make sense, make it fit into the match, things like that. That's the only thing. You take care too, Cap. Tyson Fury's supposed to come to WWE again. Yes, he is. We'll see if it happens. We'll see. It's probably something will happen at the Clash of the Castle, which is over in England. So we'll see. He did say something about Drew McIntyre, so maybe he comes out and costs Drew the match with Roman. We'll see. It'll be Roman and Drew for the title. We'll see back. Eggy Noodles, thanks, man. You've been great. You guys have all been great. I appreciate everybody that is tuned in tonight. Oh, thanks, Eggy Noodles. Appreciate you subscribing there. Derek Hart, Manchester, UK. Hey, who do you got over there? What is it? Is ICW over there? Is it ICW in Manchester? Derek, I'm not trying to. I know there's a couple groups over there, and I was listening. I've been watching some other ones. For Love of Wrestling, is that over in Manchester? Derek, I don't know if you know. I'm just asking. Because I was actually watching some shoot interviews the other day, just because that's what I love to do. And I saw a lot of For the Love of Wrestling. I can't remember exactly where they were at in the UK. More boxing. Okay. And Josh, thank you, my man. I appreciate you. And I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Make sure, please hit the like button on the way out. Don't forget to hit me up on Instagram or Twitter at Sean_Stanley11. Talk some wrestling there. I talk sports and everything else. Make sure to subscribe here to the Big O Radio Show. Also, check out our Big O Show Cuts. That's it. It's the other channel, Big O Show Cuts. Subscribe there as well. May start posting maybe some just things that aren't being posted here. Maybe I'll not go live, but record some stuff, throw on some maybe breaking news and things like that being on there. So make sure you check out Big O Show Cuts. And then also please subscribe to this channel, Big O Radio Show. This is where we do the live show on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern. I'm not sure now that I know I got people in Manchester and everything else. Make sure you know 8 p.m. Eastern. Oh, is Becky confirmed to wrestle here in Miami in July? Not on what I've seen. Again, they've only really listed 2 matches. It was Drew McIntyre, Sami Zayn, Usos against the New Day, and then he said scheduled to appear was Cody Rhodes. And I got to double check that. Maybe they did say Becky Lynch was scheduled because there was one female performer. Maybe it might have been Becky or it was Bianca. It was one of them. It was Bianca or Becky. Frankie, let me check the news thing they sent me, and I'll reach out to you. I got you on Instagram. I'll reach out to you and let you know when I check that. Eggy Noodles, Derek, thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you're here every Tuesday and Thursday. Josh, Big O, Cap for Life. Make sure you check them out. They got their show starting here soon. My dad, appreciate you as always. We've got everybody that tuned in today, man. Thank you. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the love. And as always, what we say here in the words of the great Gordon Soley, and if you don't know who he is, you don't know much about wrestling, do yourself a favor and look it up. And as I said, in the words of the great Gordon Soley, so long from the Sunshine State.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
For over 16 years, EJDConstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDConstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433